sea.
It was wonderful. It was very, very interesting. It held my interest from the beginning to the end. As far as the quality goes, I think the production values were extremely high. I think that they ought to earn some sort of award for showing us what this ship would go through, you know, what the actual life. When the whaling ship first went out on the ocean, I thought, this is a small ship. I mean, come on, you know, all these men are going to live on this little bitty boat. It wasn't little bitty, but it was a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
Well, I mean, you've seen movies about sailing ships before, though, haven't you?
Yes, but I didn't realize that it was so compact. You know, everything was really, really compact.
The story is sort of framed by Herman Melville going and interviewing this older man, which had been a boy on the original ship, remember?
Okay.
So again, it had to have been.
He was a survivor. He was 14, he said, when the story started.
So it was, again, about 30 years earlier than that is when he actually was on the ship. So
it was fascinating, though. But as I will repeat myself.
Go ahead.
Well, the life on the boat, what the boat goes through in the weather, and then later when the whale attacks them. I think In the Heart of the Sea is an interesting title because the whale lives in the heart of the sea. And it was not at all unclear that this whale had it in for these men, or this ship, or whatever it was, but because he was not going to just swim away, you know, and go about whale business, whatever.
The whale held a grudge.
He did. And at the very end, well, should I say anything about
You don't need to say anything about it.
Oh, boo. Okay, then
I was there, I saw
our
it.
film goers will have to go and see, you know, what happened between Moby Dick,
again, what did
What
did you like about the movie? What were the things you liked?
Well, the production values were just absolutely fabulous.
What did you find interesting about the story?
I can't say without no, okay.
I think you can.
Okay. Chris Hemsworth, was that the first mate's name?
Yeah.
He did a beautiful job, I think, as the first mate. What did you think?
Well, I don't know. Again, it was sort of all right, but again, I can't say that I really cared for it.
Not going to be on your top 10
No, I think, again, it was based on this book, and again, supposedly Moby Dick was based, at least in part, on the events on this. So again, you sort of have to have the whole Melville thing in there. I thought it was sort of unnecessary. I thought, in a way, going back and forth between the story and the Melville interviewing this guy was a bit distracting, and it kept, I thought, from building up any sort of real suspense, any real tension at all about the whale or whatever else was going on, because you kept going back to the story, and you sort of knew that there were survivors, and you know, it's another one of these where you sort of know the end of the movie before the end of the movie. You know,
well, you suspect for sure that this interviewee, the one that
no, you know from the beginning that he's one of the survivors.
You know that he is a survivor,
yeah.
And the reason he has not talked about it for
Yes.
for him to feel
Yes.
so uncomfortable about
Yes.
sharing that. I mean, he hadn't even told his wife, who obviously was on his side and loved him dearly, what was going on.
Now, again, I have seen, much like you, other films about sailing ships and the hard life of the sailor and how they
conditions.
survive how they start off the sailing voyage and how they then they go through a storm and all of this sort of stuff, and then the whole part about them being in lifeboats and hardly surviving and being stuck on a desert island, and I've seen it all before.
And the conflict between them.
Yes, again, I didn't see. I saw very little of it that was original. So again, as a result, you would think that they would have to do it really, really, really well to make it interesting, and I don't think that they particularly did it all that well. Again, I think that it was sort of predictable, and I just the actors were fine. I mean, Hemsworth is fine. All the actors were fine. The production values were good. I don't think they were quite as impressive as you thought. I mean, again, the thing that I was sort of hoping for to a certain degree when it started was more about the whole whaling industry.
Bottom line was money.
Well,
that's
true. The
bottom line was money.
The thing that they started the movie off talking a bit about was again about how this was basically the sort of the whole petroleum industry of its time. It was huge. It was worldwide, looking for these whales, getting this whale oil to power things, to light things, and it was
even
really
light
really
the streets.
Yes, it was really important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they didn't show though was, I mean, they talked about how big it was, but they didn't show how big it was.
Mm-hmm. In fact, the small segment where they actually did kill a whale, and harvested the oil and cut up the
that was sort of interesting.
The blubber and stuff, that was interesting. And what they required our interviewee to do, because he was the smallest one, that was interesting too. He didn't like recalling that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent try, I suppose, but it just wasn't very interesting. I don't think.
So you're not recommending?
No, it didn't hold my interest as well as it held your interest. So.
Well, I think that folks should see it because I thought it was very interesting, and it's not the best film that we've seen, but it is the best film we've seen in 2016.
Well, it was released in 2015.
Okay.
So
but we
can count it as a 2015
in the 2016
film.
version. By the way, viewers, Happy New Year.
Oh.
This is the first of Grandma Goes to the Movies adventures. I give this film 1 thumb.
Give it a good thumb, okay.
1 thumb.
Oh, I'm gonna have to wait for this guy. Okay. No thumbs for me. Better luck next week.
Okay.